everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and here is your monthly dose of Upcrate, courtesy of our friends over in Germany. This monthly subscription gives us a set of procured supplies and a prompt so that we can create an artwork to a theme and get our creative juices flowing. So let's see what this month has in store for us. There is one pen on the top here on its own. This is a red Garnet Spectrum Noir twin tip marker, and this was part of the set that we got. I don't think it was last month, it was the month before, and a lot of people's red one had dried out, so they've obviously sent extra ones. I ended up stocking the packs of these because I actually really like these markers, and they have all sold out. I will be getting more of the Spectrum Noir metallic markers and the different themed sets. They will be coming back into the stash shop probably at the middle of next month sometime, so if that's something you're looking for at a reasonable price, if you can hold your horses for a couple of weeks, I am going to get them back in stock. Shameless plug over, let's get on with the rest of the box. Okay, let's look at the paperwork first. Oh, there's a lot of paper in here today. Jeez. This is our bottle post, so this is the magazine that comes in the box that tells us about the supplies, gives us our inspiration, and it also has the prompt in the back, so we'll look at that last. They've changed the format again. This is a glossy magazine. We'd gone to like a sort of recyclable matte paper, and now we're back to glossy. One of the things I really don't like about Upcrate is that they keep changing their magazine. I wish they would just leave it alone. I really do, because you just don't know what you're getting. Okay, anyway, never mind that. Let's move on. Here is our co-captain, which is Cludwig. And this artwork is absolutely stunning. This looks like a wee bit of watercolour. Claudia, a freelance illustrator from Germany, and this is some of her stuff from her Instagram as well. So the paper that we have here is definitely watercolour paper. It's really thick. There's 3 pieces. This is very standard for Upcrate now, and 3 sheets for me is the minimum I would expect in a subscription box. 1 to test your supplies out on, 1 to do an artwork, and a spare in case something goes wrong, or the chance to do a second piece. So this looks like hot press paper. It is very, very smooth. I love hot press watercolour paper, which is weird because generally I quite like texture, but there's something about the way paint goes down on hot press paper. So that feels like really good quality, really nice watercolour paper. We've got some stickers here, and we have a couple of animals, which is always nice. And we've got a Hello Fresh promo as well. No thank you. Oh yeah, look, a teeny tiny paintbrush. Jem loves a teeny tiny paintbrush. This is a synthetic lineal size 0 round. Oh my good grief. Oh, love a good detail brush. Right, really excited about that. We will we'll test that out. I'll be like, woohoo. We've got some markers. Ugh. Artspace colour marker, twin tip markers. This looks like a brush tip. Ooh, and a chisel tip. Boo. These are alcohol markers. Oh god. Really delicate pastel colours as well. That's a really nice surprise. I'm really looking forward to testing out the brush tip on these, because these look remarkably like Copic markers. Like really similar. Just slightly different caps on them. Well, that's exciting. Got a liner pen here, a Tombow. This one has a really nice felt nib that's quite delicate. There we go. So you can see that it's almost like a felt tip, but it's just a little bit more refined. Okay, last but not least, there's this little tin there and this special book. Oh, Artspace watercolour set, 12 colours. Look at this tin. This is so cute. Do you know what's really interesting? I was actually looking for a tin this size to put some of my own paints in. All the tins I have are really big. I've got like the Cotman Studio set. I was looking for something to sit outside with for my new little watercolour sketchbook quest. If these paints are good, I might just keep these in here. Ah, this is nice. I'm looking forward to swatching those out. Oh, what a good box this is. Okay, so let's take a look at our bottle post, see what we can learn about the hi Jock. See what we can learn about the items before we swatch them out. Okay, so straight into the supplies. That's what I like about this. No messing about. Straight in there. Let's go. Bish bash bosh. Elastic brush tip. There we go. That's a really good description. The Fuden Osuke. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. This says it's 2 brush tips with grey and black ink. So I'm assuming that this end is the grey one and this end's the black one. Suitable for a wide range of applications such as hand lettering. Firmer tip makes it easier to control the width of the stroke and is particularly suitable for intricate lettering and embellishments. That's what I was saying, like they're halfway between a felt tip and a brush nib. That's what I was trying to say. I just didn't do it very astutely. Thanks, Upcrate. The water-based pigment is not waterproof after drying, but it is water resistant. This makes it wonderful to use on watercolour backgrounds for outlines. Well, is it though? So they're suggesting that you integrate it into your watercolour and not use it as a liner. Okay, I would, if I was wanting a crisp line, I would line after the fact. That would be okay. And if you want to combine it in with your watercolour, you would use it before, because if you brush over it enough times, it will start to dilute. Okay, look at the lovely hand lettering. I'm terrible at hand lettering, but this makes me really happy. So thanks to all you people that can hand letter. There's also a little bit of an advert here for the Tombow pens as well, which is fine. The colour markers with chisel and brush nib. So these Art Spaces are basically the Upcrate own brand, and these look impressive. Whether they are or not is another matter. Twin markers are professional quality art and graphics alcohol markers, soft and flexible brush nib, ideal for detail work and variable width strokes, as well as chisel nib that is great for filling in large blocks of colour. These will layer and blend perfectly. I hate it when they say that about alcohol markers. They'll only layer and blend perfectly if you use a good technique and you use decent paper. It is not a given, and it is not constant. So just something to be aware of if you're not used to using alcohol markers. Your marker colours are 3 tones of pastels, being pastel violet, pastel yellow and pastel rose. Yeah, that's a really nice combination of colours, very Easter bunny colours. That's what that reminds me of, like Easter bunny. And the pocket watercolour set, woo! Perfect for travelling or sitting out on the deck. 12 pans of water-soluble vibrant artist paints, small durable aluminium case that is conveniently sized to take your paints with you wherever you go. It includes a mixing palette as well. Yeah, this is the side, you know, you've got like little wells here. These parts drive me absolutely crazy, and if I usually take them off, and if I'm wanting to mix colours, I just use this part here. But if I'm going to use this for travelling, I might keep it on there, because I would have my swatches somewhere. I'd probably put my swatches in the middle, actually. I don't know how I'm going to do that. See, I'm just brain farting out loud. I'm really excited about this, but I'm trying not to get excited until I've actually tried the paints. And I can't wait to see Emily's interpretation on her colour wheel. This is going to be exciting. Paintbrush, teeny tiny paintbrush, round tip synthetic brush. Aluminium ferrule with a dark blue lacquered wooden handle. Synthetic fibres used are characterised by the fact they're very elastic and dimensionally stable. How fancy. The brushes are very suitable for all watercolours and for acrylic paints. Saunders Waterford hot pressed high white 300 GSM watercolour paper. Whoo! The St Cuthbert's Mill paper has a great reputation for quality. They've been around for a long time, and generally is just great paper. I've had this paper before and it's very nice indeed. So we are absolutely 100% safe as houses with this paper. This is our co-captain or featured artist, and there's some information here. They were the very first co-captain, so the very first Upcrate box that came out, and obviously they have made a return, and this is almost, I think it'll be 3 years in, I want to say September or October when Upcrate started. It was definitely later in the year. So this is really nice to go back to and have a little interview with again, because a lot of people haven't been subscribed from the start. I missed the very first box. I came in like the second box. So, you know, this is really nice, even for me who's been at this for freaking ages, you know. So there's quite a lot here and nice demonstrations of their artwork as well. Obviously a drawer of people and sometimes animals too, by the looks of things. We've got a QR code here that you can scan and watch her doing some artwork with the Upcrate materials. The last time I did actually scan this last time, and it took me to a TikTok video. I'm assuming that will be the same for every artist, but if they don't have a TikTok, it might take you to Instagram. Not entirely sure. I don't have my phone handy, so I can't try it. Art out of the box with Katrin. So this is techniques with the watercolour and the markers, just talking a little bit about that there. So that's really helpful info if you're not familiar with some of the supplies. And she's also got a little mini step-by-step here on how she's created this artwork. So that's nice if you're maybe lacking inspiration, or you're just looking for an easy time, you know, maybe you've got half an hour or something, you can follow along with this and create yourself a little artwork. This is really nice as well. I like this a lot. She's done a really good job with that. Here is our Sailor of the Month. Oh, is this painted or is this scratch art? This is lovely. And Stephanie from Northern Germany is a lady after my own heart. She is a scientist by trade, but likes to draw and paint in her spare time. Well, hi there. This is lovely. I've got a bit of a thing for big cats as well. Some of you know I did a black and white lion a year or two back. More than a year or two. Anyway, like big cats. Oh, good. This is beautiful as well. Look at this dude. His very majestic antlers. Lovely. Love seeing the Sailor of the Month as well. And here is my favourite person, Emily. Hello, subscriber. Emily does her colour wheels and she kind of like swatches everything out in the box. And I say this every single month, but it's such a good source of inspiration. I take great inspiration from seeing all the colours together. And she's done an absolutely fabulous job with the watercolour paints. Look at this. You can pretty much make anything with watercolour paints. It's good. And this is our little marker selection as well. So there's some interesting intermediate colours going on there, you know, by layering them up. And there's the little Tombow pen at the top. This is lovely. Really nice. Emily's my favourite. So here is the Upcrate Battle Life Awakes. This was February and this is so nice. Yeah, this was the Viviva watercolour sheets. Okay, so all that remains is to look at our back page. And the battle topic is thinking about the future. In the Upcrate 44, we have a colourful palette for you. As colourful as life? Is life always colourful? Life should always be colourful. But is the future also colourful, and what will the future bring? We all think about this often, so it's time to record your thought about a colourful future on paper. What do you imagine for your future? What are your feelings when you think about the future? As always, anything goes, all feelings are allowed. We look forward to a journey into a colourful future. Okay, well that's quite nice. I'm going to take a sheet of this beautiful hot press watercolour paper, because the other thing that these magazines can't demonstrate to you is the things that I explain. I'm a very tactile person and I will tell you how it feels, the pressure, the touch, if something feels cheap and plasticky, because I don't like cheap plasticky things, etc, etc. So let's get to work here. I'd like to start with these markers because I'm really curious. Okay. I have literally just picked these out based on the cap colours. These are not going to be accurate representations of the Copic markers versus the Artspace markers. The reason I wanted to do this is I just wanted to look at the barrels, because the barrels, although the lids are different, the barrels seem really similar. The Artspace marker, let's just look at one at a time. I'm getting really overexcited with myself here. They are the same shape. They're like an oval shape, but the Artspace barrel is slightly longer. They're roughly the same circumference, because when I lie them side by side, there's not much in it. And obviously the caps are different. They've kept with this universal grey line to indicate the brush tip end of it. Well, I'll be damned if that nearly isn't the same brush tip. The Copic one is slightly more compact. Okay, I don't need to go any further. They're nothing like Copic markers. That is a really stiff brush tip. I'm assuming that these will loosen off over time, but watch the tip of this very closely when I press down. And then watch the Copic marker. This bends and moves about and it's actually kept the shape there. You see it's sitting, it's like a snub nose, it's sitting slightly up at the end. That's the end I've been leaning on. Not the same, not the same. That's not to say that the Artspace ones aren't good. That was a pretty good colour match, wasn't it? Pfft, go gem, off the top of my head. So here's the chisel end, which as expected, but really nice juicy colour, and they do seem to have a nice even laydown. The paper will be helping this because this paper is smooth. So yeah, okay, not bad at all. Let's take a look at the pink colour. Oh, that's more of like a salmon colour, isn't it? I wasn't expecting that either. What's this one? They don't have colour names, they've just got numbers. R160. I chose out a pinky colour. I thought it was going to be pink. This is very interesting, actually. Okay, and finally we've got the Artspace yellow. So this is why a YG code, which is a yellow-green colour. So that looks like a normal yellow to me. Yeah, I really hope that these brush tips are going to loosen off. They do tend to be quite rigid to start with, but after you use them, they start to get a bit more flexible, which is much more pleasant in my book. Really impressed with the uniformity of the colour, particularly on this paper. So just for giggles. Okay, I was actually like a couple of shades too light with most of them, but they're good. That's not bad going at all. So I think we can safely say as well that if we pop these back down, The cap colours are fairly accurate. The lids of the marker matches the colour that I've picked in the Copic shades. So what this tells me is that the markers are a shade darker than their cap colour. So yeah, these have the potential to be really nice if we can loosen off the brushes. It's so nice to get a brush tipped marker because they're just so much more versatile than the little hard bullet nibs you get. Let's have a little look at this. So this is the little Tombow marker. The grey side, there's your grey line. And I feel like that's pulling at the paper a wee bit when we put pressure on it, but not too bad. And the black one seems... Now, see, this is what happened last time. The black one, the nib feels slightly different and it just... The ink feels much more juicy. Whereas with the grey one, I feel as if it's a bit more scratchy. But the pens, these are beautiful pens, and see if you're into hand lettering, this is an absolute must. It will do for the purposes of what we need it to do as well. If you keep a light hand and a light pressure, you can use this as a fine liner. It's, you know, it's not going to cause you any issues because the nib is firm enough to be able to do that. That's what makes it a really versatile pen. Like, there you go, I can draw it like I draw a box there. And I can hatch the way I would with a fine liner, and you would never know that I'm using a brush tip. But if I put a little bit of pressure on that and make a line with it, you can see instantly that it's a brush tip. So this is actually a really, really flexible tool. Look at that for a brush tip. Like, these are great. I can't wait to get these back in stock. I only bought a couple of sets of each colour just to see how they would go, and I kind of wish I'd kept a set for myself. So when I get them back in stock, I'm going to buy an extra one of each set for me. I don't know when I'm going to use them, but I just really want them because they're so pretty. Anyway, so for those of you that had a dried out marker last time, right, you've got a replacement. Right, let's get to work and swatch out some of these watercolour colours. So that's like a Viridian type green. Nice solubility. Yeah, okay. And again, really, I really enjoy the paper here. Oh yeah. Okay, that's nice paint. I like that. I could work with that. This little paintbrush is lovely as well. Like, that's done a really good job. That's a fairly big job for a tiny paintbrush. And it's picked it up no problem. Again, I would probably have been better off using another brush to swatch these out, but I don't have one to hand just now. It would have been nice. I wonder if we got colour names and I just missed them. Yeah, that's a little bit lacklustre. Some of these seem quite vibrant and... Oh, flicking water about everywhere. They seem quite vibrant, and I've noticed this again just over time. You know, we've done quite a lot of this here at the cave now, and one of the things that I notice is that nearly all of the own brand paints, watercolour paints, tend to be these really bright, vivid colours. And I don't know whether it's a change in technology, you know, the way that these paints are actually made, or a change in trends as to how people are actually using watercolour. I think it's a sneaking suspicion that it's a combination of both of those things. I don't know how I feel about stuff like that, especially in a set of 12. I think that a little watercolour palette, so, you know, like 12 half pans or less, to me is a very personal thing. And the nice thing about these is you can switch some of the colours out for colours that you would actually use. That's the beauty of these little palettes. That's what they're designed to do. And it's always interesting to find the companies where they think a sweet spot is, because obviously they have to cater to as many different painting styles or subject matters or whatever as they can with only 12 colours in order for it to be a successful seller, you know, as a palette. So I find that a really interesting point, because there's no right or wrong answer, and this is purely going to be down to preference, assuming that you like the quality of the paint. So, you know, it's a bit of a roulette job, really. But I mean, realistically, how many of these colours am I going to use? Well, I can tell you straight off the bat that there's several that I certainly wouldn't use. The paint's starting to dry a little bit in places now. The greens are an issue for me. I'm not enjoying the greens. They're very artificial. I feel like the paint quality is okay. I would rather mix my own green, which we have the option to do. And some of the colours seem to sit better on this paper than others. Now, again, we've talked about the paper. There is absolutely no question about the quality of this paper. so it can only lead me to question the quality of the watercolour. I mean, these are perfectly serviceable. It's a really cute little tin. It'll be interesting to see how they fare, because again, you know, we talk about this a lot here at the cave as well. You can't just trust a swatch. The best way to figure out how good something is to actually use it. The proof is always in the pudding, and you'll never get the full feel for something until you've gone past that swatch stage and actually painted or drawn something with them. So I am going to reserve judgment for now. The beautiful thing about watercolour is that if you don't like the colour palette, you can, as long as you've got a few basic colours, you can basically mix anything you want. We've got plenty to choose from here, so we're not going to be limited on options. So for me, I think this is a nice box, but thinking in terms of the box as a whole in its entirety, and thinking about the Upcrate battle prompt, which is thinking about the future, the limiting factor for me is going to be the size of this paintbrush. We've got this lovely set of paints and we're working on A5 paper. That's going to be hard work, and I think a lot of the time they're like, yeah, you can use another paintbrush or whatever. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll wait and see. So I kind of had a wee think, and I just decided I'm going to go ahead with this Upcrate battle because I've got something in my mind anyway, and I figured we were here. So I've just got some water, and that's my little paint puck in there to clean my brush, and a rag to wipe the brush on as well. I've taped my paper down here. We're not going to be doing any mega wash stuff, but it's still nice to have it nice and secure for us. So one of the things that Mr. Jem and I have talked about quite recently is what kind of home we are going to retire into. Obviously there will come a point where Mr. Jem will be too old to farm, and we hadn't really had the discussion about what kind of property we would buy for our retirement home, and so we had a chat about it the other night, and it turns out we both envision exactly the same thing. So I'd kind of like to try and capture a wee bit of that today, and obviously that's a long way in the future for us. We're in our 30s, you know, we're not retiring anytime soon, although it would be nice if we could afford to. But I just thought that was quite a nice idea. So I'm also interested to find out how these markers behave with the watercolour. So I'm just going back to my little, this was my tester page from earlier. I did cut out the watercolour swatches, and it's because I've put them in here for reference. But what I wanted to do was put some marker down, and look how smoothly that's going down on the paper. Like, that's lovely. Who needs marker paper? I want to let that dry in, and then I'm going to try and put a little bit of the watercolour down on top of it. So we can definitely see the marker through there. It's created quite a nice shade of green though. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to utilise that or not. I kind of like that. Okay, right, that's cool. I'm happy with that. I am going to take this marker, and I just feel like I want to create an area here. And I'm just making this a random shape. So I'm going to try and create a little bit of a background here, and we can work in layers to build up some colour. Because of the type of paper that we've got, I have zero concerns surrounding the integrity of the paper, and if it's going to manage, you know, some layers and stuff, we're going to be absolutely a-okay for layers. So I'm just going to get on and pop a little bit of something in here. Now, what I'm thinking about is the house in question is going to be sort of in the middle here. So once I've got the structure down, I can go back to this background, but I'm just trying to kind of like plan a few bits out in my head here. And something that I'm doing more and more these days is not sketching anything out when I'm painting. It's a different story entirely when I'm drawing anything in pencil. I like to have that sort of regimented feel, you know, of having the lines to follow, if you like. But when I'm painting, for some weird reason, I couldn't give a monkeys, and it's almost as if I'm trying to break away from it a little bit. So yeah, that's it's quite an odd attitude, I would say, because it's a bit inconsistent. But I'm kind of like that anyway, so. Okay, right, so this is going to be a little patch of sky showing here, and then there's going to be some kind of greenery. Oh, my stomach's rumbling. Sorry, guys. I don't think the mic picked it up, though, but I'm actually proper hungry. But I'm committed now. I'm committed. So the stomach will have to wait. It's not like I'm going to fade away to a shadow, let's face it. I think I'll be okay for an hour or two. So we have to remember that this pen, when it's dry, is water resistant. It is not waterproof. So I'm kind of trying to remember that. Now I do want this roof to have texture. Again, this is just, I want to get some colour down. So it is going to be a little slate roof, so just the watered down black's fine for that just now. And I think we're going to have a lilac house, so I'm going to do the chimney breast, the chimney the same colour as what will be the walls. So I'm going to save that alcohol marker specifically for that purpose. So now the thing is here to get some contrast. This is not going to be the easiest thing, but we've established that we can use the watercolour over the top of the marker. So the likes of here, I feel as if the sun, obviously this is like some sort of light source, so it's like coming from the background almost. So the side pillar part of the chimney breast there needs to be lighter. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take some of this watered down black, and I'm just going to swipe that over the top of the marker there. So that gives us a bit of a shadow. I want to see how easy it is to pull up the paint after the fact. So we did this part first, and that was pretty early on, and I'm having absolutely no problems with that, which is great. See what that, I'm trying to get like more of an olive. Oh, there we go, that's the right. Okay, so let's have a selection of shrubbery. I kind of want the trim to be pink, just so that it looks really cute. That's the only reason. So I'm just going to try and put that in. The problem with this is because there's a little bit of bleed in this pen and I've got this brush tip, it's probably going to look a little bit untidy, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Okay, so I've got a bit of a path going here, and this brown's just a mixture of the two, the paler shade of this set, this one here, and this one here. I'm going to establish some windows here, and again I think I'm going to use the grey marker for this. It seems the most sensible choice, honestly. Kind of want a semicircular door as well, I'm not going to lie. Get some leaves on the go now. Okay, so I'm just starting in this corner now, and I'm going to start to build up a little bit of everything. Just make this a little bit bolder. And I've deliberately left gaps there so that I can go in with these markers and maybe put some flowers and things in. You know, that's kind of a nice thing to do. I'm trying to use the lightest of touches here so that I don't get a huge amount of bleed with the marker. Okay, I'm going to let this side dry a little bit, just while I'm waiting for these other areas to dry. So I'm trying to be quick and light across here because I don't want to take out too much of the marks that I've left. So I've added in some of the purple paint from the set, like the straight purple paint here, this one, into the front of the building just as a shadow colour. And you can see I've started adding some detail here, and I've put the markers to good use here just with some of the foliage. So I'm just going to continue on. I think I'm going to leave the background as it is now. I just wanted a little bit of colour in it. I didn't want like all fancy stuff going on. So I'm going to continue to work away in more of the foreground area, but from right to left here. I'll get some texture in there, look. Yeah. Again, I'm not really aiming for anything in particular. Decided that the yellow marker was good for the door as well, just to give a bit of contrast there. Oh my goodness. That was not supposed to happen. That was an involuntary hand twitch. Okay, so we're going to make a tree out of this one, guys. It's so diagonal as well. Oh, right, maybe I think then we'll have to have this come down here. This is going to have to be a main feature. Oh, lordy, I absolutely hate it when this happens. Oh, it's just as well I've got a sense of humour, isn't it? There we go, look, everything is going to be absolutely okay. I'm kind of losing the will to live, and this video is going to end up being really long, but just bear with me, okay? I'll probably have to do a couple of layers here, you know, I'm going to have to let this dry, just because of obviously the transparency aspect here. See, looks like a tree. Like, who am I trying to convince here? The cavers or myself? The question is though, does it look like it's meant to be there? Probably not. I'm actually going to have to stop really soon because I've actually run out of time physically. I have run out of time, and that's really unusual for me. But I did start this painting at like 10 o'clock this morning, and it is now 6:20 at night. Obviously, I haven't been painting the whole day. I have had other things to do, but I really can't spend any more time on this. So I may have to finish this off at another juncture. To be fair though, that's kind of sort of encompassed, not really, it's kind of what I was going for, but I would have wanted to spend a lot more time doing a lot more layers or getting a lot more depth. and this paintbrush is, it's kind of struggling, to be honest. I think it's taking a bit of a beating. So yeah, there's that. Definitely with a bigger brush though, we could get a lot more done here, I think. Yeah, I feel like this needs to be a lot deeper and darker, and the dark areas need to be much darker. That would be where I'm going with this. I don't even know if I'm going to finish this now, if I'm honest. I don't know if I want to finish it. I think I can, I've used these paints enough now to know. They're okay, I mean, they're fine. I just find that the colours are a wee bit too vibrant for my liking. I tend to like more muted colours when I am painting. I do like the size of the set though, and I've been able to mix some nice colours too. The purple's probably been my favourite actually that I've used in here. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to call it quits there. I'm going to stop there. How do I feel about the box? This is quite a nice box. It's a fun box, and it's really nice to have a little set of watercolours like this. I've really enjoyed this aspect of it, although the colour selection perhaps isn't quite up my street. Wish we'd been given a slightly bigger paintbrush as well. I would love to hear your thoughts on the box, and if you have any thoughts for your own future for your battle prompt as well. And that's it for today, guys. You can let me know all your thoughts and comments down underneath the video, obviously, and I will see you back in the cave at some point during the week for another colouring video, and then back on Sunday for an art video. So have a great day, everyone, and bye bye for now.